Good morning, and thanks to the organizers for having me out this morning. It's my pleasure to be here. I was asked to speak about regulatory. And I thought, God, I got to make that interesting. So, how does one do that? And so, at least I could come up with something catchy for a title or whatever. So it was about the 10 challenges, and I thought, well, regulatory, in my mind, from dealing with a lot of the emerging companies in the world that are out there in Canada, dealing with trying to bring these technologies to market, regulatory is probably the third challenge. And I say it's the third challenge because generally you got two challenges before that one. One, you need to be able to come up with something that generally works. You need to develop a product. There's a whole litany of challenges in that one. And two, you need to be able to find money, which has been inordinately difficult for our emerging companies in this past year. Once you come up with a product and you basically can finance it to get it to that market, then you actually have to get through the market and you have to get that license to sell. So 003, license to sell. First question. I guess we're going to switch over here. So in 2008, the therapeutic product director, its overall performance was at 90%. So what was their performance in the last year, 2009? Wow, there you go. Well, most of you are wrong. The answer is number one, 70%. If I go to the next slide. Their story basically, if we just go back on that one, they basically did around the same level of workload in terms of combination of NDS, ANDS, supplementaries as well on that one. But their actual performance dropped precipitously on that one. If you take a look at the slide, a lot of the files that have gone into backlog, which is a scary statistic for us. What's scarier in these numbers that I just saw earlier this week, that came out on Monday, is that it was regressing throughout the year. Q1, their performance was at 81%, Q2 was at 70%, Q3 they were at 65%, and Q4 they were down to 63%. Not exactly a very good trend. It's something for us to all wonder about what's going on over at the Therapeutic Products Director and how things are going, because it's going to affect us. We've spent our $1 billion to bring a product to market, and yet there's no ability to bring it here quickly. In the world of biologics, there's another question that's like, okay, that's one thing for the classic small molecule, but what about the biologics that we're dealing with there? We're also seeing performance drop. Not as bad. It's dropped down to 82% from 88% in the previous year. They were tracking very well throughout the year, quarter by quarter, until the last quarter, and basically they're writing that down to, or attributing that to, is a shift in resources they had to do for the H1N1. They did an enormous amount of work in terms of getting the approvals, getting sort of the vaccines ready and out into the market in the last year. I mean, the vaccine approval time was like 3 months. They can do it. It's just that it hurt the other side. And they've thrown some stuff for the first time since 2005. We're now seeing products in backlog that have carried over. It's also concerning when you take a look at the backlog on TPD stats as well. This is the first time since 2003 that they've carried over such a significant number of files from the previous year. 72 files basically carried over from 2009 to 2010. There's been some question in BGTD that's been out there in terms of, well, they're trying to hit all their performance, but they're just kicking more files out. They're issuing more NONs or notice of deficiencies. The data doesn't really prove that out. We did see sort of a drop in terms of percentage of approvals, but in terms of whole numbers of files that have gone into NON or NOD, yeah, not so much. And in fact, in 2009, it's just the opposite on that area. So performance through the biologics side is looking better, I think, in terms of top-line numbers than what we've seen in the therapeutic product directory. But it's a big push, as you know, part of the theme for the conference, which is great, is in terms of solutions, is very much in line with the mission of Biotech Canada, is to provide solutions to the challenges our members face that's out there. And how are we trying to deal with that in terms of a time when approval timelines, as much as they've been improving overall, which is ultimately what's important to us, that they're starting to slip. And so how do we become solution finders for this one? One of the things, excuse me, one of the things Biotech Canada is leading with our members is trying to come up with new methods to be able to facilitate, improve in terms of the submission timelines, in terms of the approval timelines. One of the new initiatives we just started a couple of weeks ago is to deal with creating an Industry Health Canada working group on regulatory activities related to electronic submissions. We're going to provide the operational platform to advance sort of this process, and it's basically with the objectives to facilitate the process of applications. How do we help get it through quicker? I mean, it's always easy for us to criticize and complain, but we need to be part of the solution out there and bring some of this stuff to work cooperatively together. We want it better. Well, let's step up, and I think as an industry we're going to do that. This working group, this JIRA, is not going to be just us in the Health Canada. We're going to all the other related groups that are doing the submissions there. MEDIC, the Animal Health Association, the Consumer Health Products, RX&D, the generics, and the group out of Quebec as well, and ad hoc members. So it'll be like a 16-member working group that's coming on there, and so we're working through the process of just getting this set up right now, so we're hoping to be ready start of April to move it forward. So some of the solutions are going forward, but what else is happening in the regulatory world that's going to change our world?